UvaldeRadio.net, Robert Miguel here, take two. We're doing Friday Night Live at Broadway, 830 at 100 East Main Street, downtown Uvalde, getting ready for some live music here in the patio. Party in the Plaza is also happening about a block over in the Plaza, so it's a beautiful night to be out in downtown Uvalde. Right now with me, all the way in from Conroe, Texas, y'all make some noise for James Garland.
Yeah. It's good to be here.
And you're your buddy, too. What's
Dagan. He's my lead player. He don't have his guitar in his hand.
No guitar,
right
but
now.
he's here to moral support.
Yeah, he's gonna play whenever we get up there. Yeah.
Little party on. So first of all, how was the trip from Conroe, man?
I was telling my wife, I said, it's a 7-hour drive. I'm gonna get home when the sun's coming up tomorrow because we got to play point blank tomorrow.
Wow.
And whenever I put it in the GPS, it said 5 hours, and I was like, thank God. I've never been excited about 2 hours in my life.
No, it's a
until
big
then.
difference.
Yeah.
So funny story is I used to live in DFW for a long time, and I was born and raised here. So when my family moved to DFW and I started driving, back then, because there was no tollways and other highways, it was 35. That was the only way you could get there.
Right.
It was a 7-hour, sometimes 8-hour drive if the traffic was bad, from Uvalde to DFW, and then they added all this stuff. So when I got older and I say retired here. I'm still working my butt off.
Right.
But just kind of doing small.
We appreciate it, though.
But doing small town radio. Now it's like a 5.5-hour drive, and it's like, thank you, because I'm old and I can't handle my legs can't stay still that long anymore, man.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
And we get out, we stretch them.
Oh yeah. You have to do it like every couple hours. And then you got to pee. I mean, come on, It gets
David,
more frequent the older you get.
Yeah, I was just say Dagan is our frequent stopper. He's every hour.
Oh my goodness. I have a friend like that. And when we go out bar nights, every 15, 20 minutes I got to pee. I'm like, dude, you never should have broke the seal, bro.
Yeah.
Never break the seal.
I always tell him I wish I could drink water like him, but as much as he goes to the bathroom, I'm like, I'm okay.
Nobody
Give me a
needs
Dr.
that.
Pepper. Yeah.
The bathrooms are real nice and clean here at Broadway 830, so bring them on down here. They got some great drink specials, delicious artisan pizza, really cold beers. They got this really good beer flight. I think it's like $10, and you get a sample of some really good stuff as well, too. And good customer service as always. So James Garland in from Conroe. You made it safe. You made it sound.
Yeah.
Back in Uvalde for the second time. Now, if you were here, you did a really interesting event at the Briscoe Garner Museum a few months back, which was like a play music on the porch kind of event thing.
Tons of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And if I recall, you said you were a bit of a history buff back then, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of got off.
I went through every room at Briscoe Garner, and I loved it. I learned a lot of new cool facts about stuff that I didn't even know. I didn't know these two guys were from Texas and all these things that they implemented and everything like that. It was
not just
really
from Texas,
cool.
but from Uvalde.
Uvalde specific, And then they made sure to tell me that Matthew McConaughey is from here too.
All right.
They said we don't have a museum for him yet, but it's coming.
Eventually one day for sure. Although he's got a placard on the side of the Opera House. I don't know if you saw that yet. Did you get it? Did you get inside the Opera House today?
No. I looked at it last time we were here.
Okay, that's right.
But once we wrap up here, I'm going to make it a point to walk in there.
All right, very good. Very good. Well, I'm glad you're kind of getting on the touristy side of it too. In light of recent tragedies that have happened here, it's really nice to hear that people are kind of soaking the real Uvalde culture in as opposed to just that that one sad story that we've got. So we do appreciate it. So we're gonna get out here, do a little song and dance for us. So we're gonna have you playing from 7 to 10 p.m. For those who haven't seen you live, give us an example of like what we can expect from a live James Garland show.
So whenever you see me, you think real traditional country. We don't really do neo traditional. It's country with some edge. Dagan came up with a name for it a long time ago, called it aggressive country. So it's country music with
call it aggro country.
Yeah, aggro country.
Aggro.
And it's got some rock elements to it and stuff like that. So it's kind of like if you took 90s country and modernized it in a way with still maintaining its roots.
Nice.
So that's kind of what we just ended up calling it. What's aggressive country, but I like aggro country.
It sounds real good, and your current single a little bit more rocking than the one before, which I kind of appreciate too. It's good stuff. So far we've got 2 of your songs in rotation. Let's go ahead and play the first one. It's called "Be Your Fool," and then we'll get caught up with about who you're about. Well, we'll play the radio version. We'll just play the single and get that on the air, and we'll come back. We'll talk to you some more. You got your guitar. You got something else you can play for us?
Yeah, man. We can do some sneak peeks to the album.
That sounds great. All right, man. So y'all hang tight. This is James Garland. The song is called "Be Your Fool." You've heard it on Uvalde Radio, and he'll probably be performing it live tonight here. This is UvaldeRadio.net, Friday Night Live.
That duffel bag of mine, it's easy easier to load every time. Going round and round with you. 'Cause I've taken all your abuse and all the lies I'm gonna listen to. I never thought you could be so cruel. So don't you wait up for me, 'cause tonight is the night I set me free. And baby, I swear this time I'll leave. But you can keep those records too, and I'll keep the lessons I've learned from you. And just know I'll always love you, but I won't be your fool. Long nights I sat alone, just waiting by my telephone. Got me used to you being gone. 'Cause those nights you were out on the town, I just sat back shooting them down. It's the last time my tears will hit the ground. So don't you wait up for me, 'cause tonight is the night I set me free. And baby, I swear this time I'll leave. But you can keep those records too, and I'll keep the lessons I've learned from you. And just know I'll always love you, but I won't be your So don't you wait up for me, 'cause tonight is the night I set me free. And baby, I swear this time I'll leave. But you can keep those records too, and I'll keep the lessons I've learned from you. And just know I'll always love you, but I won't be your fool. I won't be your fool.
UvaldeRadio.net. We are doing Friday Night Live at Broadway, 830 100 East Main Street, downtown Uvalde. Live music by James Garland starts up at 7 o'clock and performing from 7 to 10 p.m. It's just a beautiful night here in the patio. We got a big, kind of a cover. It's not an awning. I don't know what this thing is, but anyway, the birds won't poop on you out here in the patio anymore. And so coming out here, and if you like what you heard there, that was Be Your Fool by James Garland. James, give me a little background on that song right there.
Yeah, so I was sitting at Dagan's house, and I was sitting off in the room, and him and his wife got into this argument. And I was trying to just drown it out, right? It's like I shut the door, and because I'm over there for rehearsal, right? So I shut the guest bedroom door, and I can still hear it.
Right.
So I just got my guitar sitting on me, so I just started strumming really loud, just hitting random chords, and I can still hear them. So then I was like, oh my God, what's going on? And I was like, so I just started singing kind of melodies, like, trying to drown it out. And I was like, man, dude, if that was me, I'd pack my damn bag. Like, I'd just be out of here. And then that line just came out, well, that duffel bag of mine, and the song just kind of took shape. And then by the time he finished, with their disagreement, I said, hey, Dagan, I got this new song, man. Like, let's sit down and work on it. And I sang the first verse, and he just started cracking up laughing.
Now, Dagan, You ever get tired of hearing the story regurgitated over and over and over again, shaming you and your relationship?
I wake up mumbling the story to myself. And
Now, are you still? Is that still your wife? You're still together?
Oh, yeah,
all right, still good. All right.
It was a disagreement.
Just
just a disagreement.
But now it lives on. It's like folklore. It's band folklore now.
Yeah.
It's part of the whole, the whole big deal.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
It's a great tune. It's your first single release to Texas radio, right?
So that was my fifth.
Okay.
Yeah, that
So
was my
I know you
fifth.
had other music. I thought that those are just songs that you put out streaming and whatnot. So
Yeah,
so,
no,
okay.
we've had 5 consecutive top 100s now, all
Right,
back to
yeah.
back. The first song I ever tried to push was called My Next Mistake, and Dagan likes to say that I do everything backwards. So whenever I first started professionally 5 years ago. We went to the studio and we recorded, and this is before we were gigging really at all, And so I go to radio with it, and I didn't know that you needed promoters or anything like that. So
sure.
I called my local radio station, take a CD of it down there to them with a copy, and I said, "Hey, I'm from here. This is my first song, what have you." And bless Bobby's heart, because he actually listened to it, and he calls me later, and he's returning my call, and he goes, "Yeah, man, I like it." And he goes, "But get out on the road a little bit." He was like, "Get out on the road a little bit."
Yeah,
and,
get a real band
he said,
and do some shows.
He said, "Kind of get some experience under
Get a
your
website
belt."
and calendar, man. Yeah,
He's
exactly.
like, "Get some experience under your belt and come back." And I was like, "Okay." A few months, maybe a year later, we do Tailgate for Two. I do it again. "Hey, man, I got this song, but man, it sounds good. Just stay out on the road. Stay out on the road. Come back and and we'll try again." And I said, "Okay."
The road helps, man. The more gigs you do, the more polished you get, the more effortless it all becomes, and you really hone your sound. And you'd be surprised. First of all, you're not the only guy to ever do that. There's plenty of guys that just have enough studio recording equipment to get a decent sounding demo.
Yeah.
And then they like I said, they just don't know that there's a whole industry and business and way of business that we do things. And then for the radio program, it's kind of like, bless your soul. It's kind of like, oh my goodness, how cute,
Yeah.
But
it's like your nephew bringing you a toy.
But it's better to get an encouraging word from those guys than get out of my face, kid.
Yeah.
Let the whole foghorn you bother me.
Yeah, which they had every right to do too.
Sure.
Because I showed up at their studio.
Right.
No phone call, no
You're doing
appointment.
like an Airheads Wayne's World kind of bit going on there. That's
just
funny.
showed up with a blank CD with James Garland written on it in Sharpie. It was like,
there's
here you
something
go.
kind of cool and rock and roll about that, though.
Yeah.
So no, don't ever feel bad about that. That's awesome. So that was your 5th single to radio. You got a brand new one now.
Yeah.
Let's go and talk about. I know you got Dagan here, but you got a full band. So give us a little background about the band and how long your current unit's been together.
So we got a full band, and the current members have been together now for 7 months. And over the last 5 years, we went through a couple different drummers, a couple different bass players. I think the only constant outside of me in songwriting is been Dagan.
Cool.
And if it wasn't
his wife.
Yeah, and his wife.
The inspiration.
And if it wasn't for Dagan, I probably would have never pursued it professionally to begin with. And it's all tips hats to him for that.
Very good.
And but it's we've interchanged musicians, whether it's from attitude issues, not getting along, or just not really fitting the sound or fitting the band mentality. And but now we've got a solid group of guys that I think is incredible. And
So what's the nightmare band as far as rotating out a musician? What was the nightmare guy that was just like where he just either had the wrong attitude, the wrong idea of pay scale, or creativity, or
our first one, I won't say his name.
Don't say that's fine, but give me the
name.
circumstances surrounding it.
But the first one, and this will kind of sum it up all together, right? We were doing a show in Conroe, and this bar has undergone new owners and everything since then. But we finished the show, and he invited his girlfriend and the side girl he was sleeping with to the same show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we do the show. He's got a real sour attitude through the whole thing because as the show's going on, his girlfriend is figuring out who this woman is.
Oh, man.
And we finish the show. He comes down off stage. His kit's still up there on stage, right? He comes down. I'm taking my guitar down. I'm smiling. I'm taking photos. I'm introducing myself to people, what have you.
Press in the flesh, for sure, yeah.
And all of a sudden, I see drum kit goes flying, snare goes flying. He's throwing stuff. He's knocking stuff over. He knocked my guitar over. And I'm like, trying to keep my composure, you know, because I'm in front of a bunch of people. You know, I can't just lose my stuff on this drummer.
Yeah.
And he backs his car up. It's local, so he backs his car up to the front door, throws everything in the back of his car, bends the tires 10 feet from the entrance of this place, and burns out of this parking lot. The owner comes up to me in tears, and she's crying, thinking that she upset me, and that she did something wrong, like we were upset about pay or something like that,
Lord.
right? And I had to like hug her and tell her like, no, ma'am, it's nothing you did. I promise it wasn't you. You know, it's just.
No, I just got Tommy Lee over here from the dirt,
exactly.
trying to write a book or
Tommy
something.
Lee just burned out in the parking lot.
That's
and
crazy.
I mean, just mascara running, and she's just all in tears because she loved us and loved my music, and it hurt to know that now that light is kind of, that's how we're painted now.
Yeah, no, it's like a smudge, like a blemish on your you know, your image, you know, you don't need that crap.
I didn't see him the rest of the night. It's probably a good thing I didn't, you know. And I met up with him the next day, and he just kind of knew what was coming, you know. And he was like, you know, I think this is just, we're gonna go our separate ways, man.
There's definitely a drummer joke. We all know they're not that bright, so you know,
so,
it's what it is. That's awesome, man.
That was definitely the nightmare musician, right? And he was with me for 2 years leading up to that.
Wow.
He was my very first drummer.
Yeah, he made a mistake there. That's all on him.
Yeah.
So again, we got James Garland here. He's performing tonight here at Broadway 830 from 7 to 10 p.m. You got a brand new song called "Hangin' On for Dear Life." Before we get into it, let's go ahead and have you play a song or a sample of something. Well, I know that you got some new music coming, so just give us whatever you want, man. We'll just turn it your way. Are you going to get it on too, Dagan?
I might go over.
Yeah. Let's
You
do.
can use some of this mic. I got another mic over here too. So
We can do a sneak peek of the album.
we'll here. No, we can just use this right here.
We'll do "Merry Go Round," which is so "Hanging On for Dear Life" is written about my wife, and I always joke and say it's the only good song I ever wrote about her. Well, whenever me and my wife first met, we were dating for a couple weeks, and she ended up leaving me for a friend of mine, but didn't tell me about it.
Oh, wow.
And I found out. And so I got mad and I went home and I wrote this song. It's called "Merry Go Round."
All right, check it out. This is James Garland live at Broadway 830 Friday Night Live.
You only ever call me when things go wrong, and I'm getting sick and tired of seeing your name on my phone. You can call it bad luck, and I call it what it is, so I'm gonna stop this train before it begins. And I'm getting real sick and tired of this merry-go-round. Make me wanna check for your brain in the lost and found. This ship is sinking and I refuse to go down, so I'm gonna jump off this merry-go-round. I'm losing my mind and some nights my sleep. Worst part about it is it's only been a week. You like to say one and only, but my friends have known you too, so I don't want to hear your lovesick blues. And I'm getting real sick and tired of this merry-go-round. Make me want to check for your brain in the lost and found. Well, this ship is sinking and I refuse to go down, so I'm gonna jump off this merry-go-round. I'm getting real sick and tired of this merry-go-round, and make me wanna check for your brain in the lost and found. Now this ship is sinking and I refuse to go down, so I'm gonna jump off this merry-go-round. Yeah, this ship is sinking and I refuse to go down, so I'm gonna jump
Garland, live at Broadway, 830-100 East Main Street, downtown Uvalde, Friday Night Live, all the way in from Conroe, Texas. Well, five-hour drive, not 7, which is good.
5 hours, not 7.
And, man, that sounds good. So that's going to be on the new record, huh?
Yeah, it's going to be on the record Man in the Mirror.
So Man in the Mirror is going to be the new record.
Yep.
The new single that's on the radio now, Hanging On for Dear Life, that'll be on there too.
Yep.
Give us an idea as to, give me an idea of whether thematically, if there's something going on, structure-wise, you know, lyrically, just give a snapshot of what the record's going to be like.
Yeah, so Man in the Mirror's title track. Essentially what it is it's over the years, it's kind of how I see the world, how I think the world sees me, how I see myself, how I think other people see me, and things like that. So it's just this weird combination of what I've been through, what I go through, where I'm headed, and how I think the world sees me and how I see the world.
Sounds pretty deep. A lot of introspection, a little observation.
Yeah, and every song is a
little.
little bit different. You know, there's only going to be 2 slow songs, 2 ballads on this record. That's Man in the Mirror and Requiem are the only 2 slow ones.
So what do you think influenced this direction thematically? Is it just you just kind of been in your head a lot, or is it just kind of maybe just where you are as just a human? Just, you know, we all reach a point where we maybe get a little bit more introspective, or I don't know.
I think it was the road. I think the road is what did it to me. Is I had 10 songs originally planned for this album, and we go out on the road and we play all over Texas. And just as time went on, sometimes it feels like it's the same people in the same place, but you're in a whole new town. And then other times it's like you're meeting whole new people. Yeah. And it's hard to explain. It's a lot of people say it's the same thing but a new town. But sometimes it don't feel like that, and then other times it does. And then you'll have one set of people that'll praise you and praise your music, and then you'll have other people that won't even turn around to look at you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I was sitting there, and we were getting ready for this record, and I said,
and that's a weird juxtaposition. It's like whenever you're anything that you do. Yeah. I mean, whenever you're lauded by a few, and most of us are cool enough to know that. You know, our core, our friends and family, they love us. They don't necessarily count.
Right.
You know, if you know what you're doing, you go, okay, well, they're supposed to love me.
Right.
But, when you get a certain amount of respect and praise or whatever, and then, you can turn around and then some people just hate you or even worse, they're just apathetic. Yeah. Which is worse than hate, because hate's just a different version of love, in my opinion. Yeah. But I think that getting on the road, I mean, I haven't traveled like a musician, but I've noticed the more I get away from where I normally am, the more you get that attitude of, hey, I'm just this little speck in this big thing, and it gets you thinking,
It does.
And it gets you grateful for the things you've got. Yeah. And it also makes you I don't know if this is you, but a little disappointed in things that maybe you haven't done yet or haven't been brave enough to try. Yeah. But I don't know. Now I'm getting all deep. So
no, it does. It does. A good example of this is Friday night, open for Sammy Kershaw, 650 plus sold out show. Yeah. Right. And had so much fun, burned the roof down. People were loving us. Saturday night, we headlined Sawyer Park in Spring, Texas. The following Friday, we're playing the Oaks Club in Dayton, and I couldn't get one person to turn around in their chair. And there was maybe 10 people in there. And it's moments like that where you go, oh, it's the big time. Oh, it's not the big time. Oh, it's the big time. It's not the big time. And just kind of going back and forth like that, I said, man, I've got these songs, because you have peaks and valleys by being an artist with your emotions, right? So during the last 5 years, during these peaks and valleys, I've written these songs. And those are the ones that at the last minute, I was talking to the producer and I said, hey, I'm going to change this record. We're going to do these 10 instead of these 10.
That's awesome.
And I sent them all the demo tapes, and they go, man, I love every track.
That's
fantastic.
I was
like, okay, well, that's the album, then. That's what we're doing.
Yeah, man, it sounds good. All right. So, again, what's the Man in the Mirror?
Man in the Mirror.
Man in the Mirror. And when's the ETA on the release on that?
I want to release it on my birthday, September 29th.
Nice. Okay.
I'd like to do an album release party and everything else. Hopefully that pans out.
Now, when you say album release, are you going to try to get some vinyl, a couple of CDs?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get 50 versions pressed into vinyl.
Nice.
So we're going to have CDs.
Very limited edition kind of thing. Yeah,
so,
nice.
And the only way you can get them is the first 25 people to buy tickets or show up to the show, get their name. It's going to be the first 25 people. Get their name put in a drawing, and then during the show, we're going to pull out of that hat in the middle of the show.
Nice, okay.
And I'm going to assign the vinyl take a quick picture with them, and then that'll be the only way you can get a vinyl copy of this record.
That's about as exclusive as exclusive gets. That's very cool.
Exactly.
Well, man, I'm looking forward to that. So you got 10 tracks, you're saying?
10 tracks. Yep.
So we've heard one live. We've got one on the radio.
Yep.
What else is in the future? I guess we're in spring, heading into summer, just shows, festivals, whatever you can get stage you can get on.
I'll tell you, I don't have a weekend open until the end of June.
That's awesome.
And next month, April, this month. Is it, what month
Tomorrow's
is
April.
Tomorrow's April.
Yep.
So April we'll start. Fooling. Yeah. So we'll start booking July through December next month, because I book 6 months at a time.
Right. Yeah.
And I just started talking to Seventh Planet today. Me and Kelly kind of go back a couple years, and I've just kind of been doing my own thing for the last 2 years. And I reached out to her today on the way here and was like, hey, I just kind of want to touch base and see if we can work a little relationship out here.
And they're a big deal. I mean, they book the big ones.
Yeah. And I sent her the new song, "Hanging On for Dear Life," and this kind of goes back to the quality thing, right? Mm-hmm. Where at the end of the day, it's a product. Yeah. And whenever you're giving out a product, you want the best possible thing that you can give.
Well, it's on the radio, or it's even if it's on a Spotify playlist. Yeah. If you're doing it right, it's sitting in between the big stars.
Right.
So if you're on a Red Dirt playlist, you're going to be between Randy Rogers and Aaron Watson or something like that. The recording has to stand up and be able to be shoulder to shoulder with those recordings. So a demo will not cut it if that's what you're trying. If that's the level you're trying to achieve. And that's for newer artists. That's one of the first things you got to really learn is that if you can't do it now, you can't afford it, or you just don't have the quality yet, you got to strive for that. So
you really do, man.
It's exciting that you're making those moves.
Yeah, you got to get out and grind, and we push everything as hard as we possibly can to the point that I got sick, and I ended up going down really hard for about 3 months, and but that being said, Hanging On for Dear Life, this first time that I've put out a release, and within the first week, we had 11,000 streams on Spotify.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, and most of it was from the first 3 days. And so I was blown away by the support and the following. Well,
when the artists anticipate and they're jumping right on it, and I know you've done really good with radio ads, kind of right out of the gate too. So
and that's part of it, and I always joke and say they call it show business for a reason, because you got to understand the business side too, which is what we would call politicking. You got to go out, you got to meet these people, you got to have fun, and
we were talking a little bit off the air about some of that maybe a dark underbelly of the business. But it's there for a reason, and and it's like, well, I mean, you can do it on your own, but really it's just a little easier to kind of play ball and do as long as you're not doing something that's against your own moral code, then more power to you, man.
And that's something that I think me and Dagan can say is, over the last 5 years, we've kind of done it our own way, and we've been very picky about who we kind of get in bed with and, what have you, and I think.
Well, I hope so, because he's married.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I think we can honestly say that in the 5 years, all the success we've had and everything like that, we've come by it honestly.
Yeah.
Either from things like the Briscoe Garner Museum, where we came out and played and stuff like that. That's how we got most of our stuff, is by doing things like that. And,
you show up, you shake some hands, you make an impression.
Yeah.
The people remember and they want you back, and they'll go out of their way to try to be supportive and be part of your team too.
Yeah, because I always told Dagan, I said, I don't want to buy it. I want to earn it. So and how do you earn it other than getting out in front of them and showing them what you can do and all this stuff? Because I think Briscoe Garner was the first time you'd ever heard me live.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah.
So and you never would have heard me live had I not came to Briscoe Garner.
We appreciate the trip. We appreciate this trip today too, man.
So it's awesome, and then that's what we've done. How I got my first couple shows might surprise you. It's funny, we're talking about rock and roll, right? Yeah. I took my guitar 2 bars at like 7 in the afternoon, 6 in the afternoon, like right when they're opening, and with my case, and I'd walk in and I'd say, hey, do you mind if I pull up a bar stool here and drink a beer and just play some songs for you? And they go, yeah, okay, go ahead, man.
Right.
I pull a guitar out.
Crazy kid.
Yeah, I'd pull a guitar out, grab my beer, and just start belting songs at the top of my lungs. No PA, no nothing. And I did it out in Killeen, I did it in Livingston, I did it in Conroe, I did it anywhere and everywhere that I wanted to play music. And by the time I'd be done, 20, 30 minutes, a handful of songs.
Yeah.
You know, I'd be like, all right, thank you, and I'd sit there and drink my beer.
They're trying to book you.
Hey, are you free this weekend? You know, and it's like, I am actually. You know, well, do you got a sound system? Do you got? Yeah, I do.
What a great story, man. I mean, I think if you're a musician out there, that's something you got to learn, man. You got to, but you know what? There's no shame in that game.
Yeah.
You got to get out there because you know that's how you turn people on. They have to hear you.
Yeah.
They have to hear you live, and if you can make it as easy as possible for them to do that, get in front of their face at their convenience when they're doing whatever they're doing. If you can turn their head for a moment to pay, stop wiping down that table or stocking that whatever, and go, well, that's good, and again, just the hustle like you're talking about. Fantastic story.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish I was just talking to a musician that I won't name, but
Sure.
But he was at the T3R Awards this last weekend, and he's been doing some weird stuff, like thinking he's a bigger deal than he is.
Fair enough.
And I kind of had a little talk, like a person, I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna be your daddy for a minute because that's not the way you roll, man. Don't be thinking you're a bigger deal than you are. Stay humble. Work hard. Let your fans schmooze and elevate you and get you as much confidence as you need. Yeah. But don't let it swell your ego. Don't think that your guitar player's mommy or aunt or your girlfriends because they love you. Right. That's the end all. You gotta wait for the real people that aren't supposed to like you. Yeah. When they start getting in line and telling you how great they're, then you're doing it right. Exactly. Meanwhile, for now, just keep on trying to impress and be as cool as you can. And I couldn't believe I was having a conversation with a grown man about that. Right. But it was just so weird. So.
Somebody had to.
Yeah, and that's what I said. I'd rather tell you now and be your daddy for a minute, because I didn't feel like it was my place, but somebody had to. I felt like, and he's a talented guy. So anyway, that's me derailing the interview. So let's go and talk about Hanging On for Dear Life. You said it was written for your wife. We're going to play it on the radio here, but give us a couple more little tidbits about it.
Yeah. So me and my wife met 5 years ago. Back whenever I was a hopeless romantic and I wasn't so work driven, right? And I took her to Lake Livingston, out near where I'm from. Then we were going to go fishing. That was going to be our first date. Well, on the way out there, we were getting on the topic of favorite artists and who we like to listen to. And the first thing that we bonded over was the fact that our favorite artist was Randy Travis.
That's awesome.
And so now we're flipping through Randy Travis songs, right? And we're going, oh, listen to this one. I bet you don't know this one. I bet you don't know this one. And we turn on He Walked on Water, because that's my favorite.
That's awesome.
And she goes, oh, my God, that's my favorite Randy Travis song. And I was like, no, it's not. And she goes, yes, it is. And I said, well, it's mine, too. And I said, not a lot of people know about this song.
That's awesome. And
so we do that all the way there. And over time, just getting to know her, I thought that I ran with the devil, and she was a pistol, man. And a lot of times it was just me hanging on for dear life, not her hanging on for dear life. And I ended up kind of writing this song about it, just how the first date kind of shaped, where you'll hear those lines saying she's flipping through the static trying to find a country station coming in clear. Yeah. That's what it's talking about, is us going down the road flipping through all these artists and everything, and we listen to everything from Alan Jackson to George Strait to Johnny to just Randy, and we even some of the newer stuff, like Josh Turner and all this stuff, and we're just like dedicating songs back and forth, being all sweet and stuff, and it just kind of took its own form, and then it just kind of talks about how she is, she doesn't care what other people think about her. All that mattered was what I thought about her, and I felt the same way about her. As I didn't care what other people thought about me or what they saw. It just mattered what she saw and what she thought.
It's got to be kind of cool to have this kind of encapsulated in song, you know. Tell me, how does she feel about it?
Whenever I told her this one was going to radio instead of merry-go-round, she almost cried. She was so happy, and she was like, "I'm so happy that this is finally not only getting recorded, but it's going to radio."
That's awesome.
And she is screaming, hoping it goes number one. She's like, "I want this to be your first number one, so that way, if we ever split, you have to deal with this being your number one, your first one."
She is feisty,
dude. I'm telling you, she's fiery, man. She is fiery.
That is funny. Well, it's a great song, so let's get it on the radio now, then we'll wrap it up after this. Again, James Garland, the brand new single, climbed up the charts. It's called Hanging On for Dear Life. I'm sure you're going to hear it live here tonight at Broadway 830, 100 East Main Street, downtown Uvalde, Friday night live, and this is UvaldeRadio.net.
Riding shotgun with some cold Bud Light. She's flipping through all the static you find that country station that's coming in clear with some George Jones or some George Strait, some Randy Travis screaming, I can't wait. I know it's gonna be a hell of a ride. All I can do is cinch up and hang on tight, because she burns brighter than the 4th of July. The fiery passion in her eye. When she looks at me, I don't think twice. I just pull her close and hang on for dear life. Never know what'll happen next, but one thing I've learned is you don't break chains. You push that gas all the way to the floor, then grit your teeth and start begging for more, because she burns brighter than the 4th of July. The fiery passion in her eye. When she looks at me, I don't think twice. I just pull her close and hang on for dear life. Now she don't care what the people might say, but when she gets revved up, better stay out of her way. She burns brighter than the 4th of July. The fiery passion in her eye. When she looks at me, I don't think twice. I just pull her close and hang on for dear life. Yeah, I just pull her close and hang on for my life.
UvaldeRadio.net, Friday Night Live at Broadway, 830 100 East Main Street in downtown Uvalde. The final day of March. Come on out here and get some of their March drink specials. See live music on the patio with James Garland. One more time. The new single there called Hangin' On for Dear Life. It's going to be on the new album, which is called Man in the Mirror.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah,
so,
Man in the Mirror.
man, looking forward to that. Hopefully by your birthday, late September, September 29th.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so, James, give us the website, all socials. How do we find you?
Yeah, JamesGarlandMusic.com is the website. If you type in any social media and type in James Garland Music, it'll pop up. I tried to make it easy.
Boom. All right, so
Yeah.
James Garland Music, you're going to find it. And but you can find him live here on the patio from 7 to 10 p.m., which is just minutes away. So get your butt on down here if you're local. If you're not local, then just keep listening to UvaldeRadio.net or find his website and stream him that a ways. I did want to say this because I didn't get a chance to say this to you over the weekend.
Sure.
I ran into you twice at the Texas Regional Radio Music Awards.
Yeah.
We were so busy
Yeah.
at the Future Faces show. I had like technical difficulties, and then the awards, and I wanted to get you on. We never got a chance to connect.
Yeah, no,
on there,
it's
so I just
okay.
want to make sure you know, live and on the air, that I'm really sorry we didn't really get a chance to really catch up.
I don't get mad about stuff
But
like
we
that.
were
Yeah.
like, I was going non-stop. Like I said, I felt like I was like the one jerk that was working the whole time. And everybody else was having a good time, dressed to the nines.
No.
I'm over here sweating my tail off, hauling gear, having a good. But I mean, great time.
Yeah.
But
I
that's
got a hug out of you. That's all I wanted.
Hey, all right, there you go. I'm surprised I got time for that. But it was good seeing you out there, man. And I'm glad we got to, at least say, hey. I just wanted to make sure you know that you're my boy. So
Definitely.
Well, we'll go ahead and let you get on stage. Any other stuff? Any other news we need to get out there while you got the mic?
Yeah, just go like and follow the social medias, and it goes a long way. I know a like and a follow doesn't seem like much, but it's the equivalent of putting $20 in my tip jar. So.
Yeah, especially on that Spotify, man. Give
Yes,
those things a few
especially on
spins.
Spotify.
Yeah.
You'll get to see all the new music, and we're going to do some cool little deals in the future where it'll be like a Spotify exclusive release before it goes everywhere else.
Nice.
So we're going to do all this cool stuff for our followers down the road.
And James, what's your wife's name one more time?
Brittany.
Brittany. Okay, so shout out to Brittany. Thanks for the inspiration of that last song.
Yeah.
Great record.
Yeah.
And thanks for sharing your husband with us. And what about your wife?
My wife is Colleen.
Colleen, thanks for fighting. Keep fighting, inspiring those great songs. Maybe
Keep
next time we get the
firing
wives
them
out here sometime soon.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, we'll bring them next time.
So again, JamesGarlandMusic.com. James, thank you so much for being out here.
Yeah, thank
Friday
you.
Night Live, and we're going to wrap it up here and resume our regular programming on UvaldeRadio.net.